Hi, friends. So I was chatting with my mom over the weekend and we got on the topic of saving money. And I was telling her that one of the ways that I have saved the most money recently is by cooking more food at home and going out to restaurants less. And she totally agreed with me, but she said something that I think a lot of people will agree with. She said, I know cooking at home saves me a lot more money, but a lot of times after a long day at work, I am just too exhausted to cook anything. And so we end up going out to eat. And I totally get it. Sometimes life is super crazy and chaotic, and making dinner at home feels impossible. And chopping your onions and making your recipes is just not feel like a feasible thing to do. So the first thing I suggested was that she use her crock pot more. Throw stuff in there at the beginning of the day, and then you come home to a fully cooked meal. And she wasn't really into it. She didn't want to eat a bunch of crock pot meals every single week. And she said that sometimes her crock pot meals didn't even turn out that great because their crock pot would overcook the food. So if you're like my mom and you don't really like the slow cooker crock pot style of cooking for busy weeknights, I want to give you some other tips for how you can make homemade meals easier when your life is crazy busy. Let's start with weekend meal prep. Now, I'm not talking about just making chicken and broccoli so you can eat the same boring meal over and over again every single night of the week. The type of meal prep that I like to do on the weekend is that style of mix and match prepping, but I include a lot more things. So I will make maybe multiple grains, multiple veggies, and multiple sources of protein. One way to make this really easy is to cook your proteins out on the grill. Particularly right now, when we are going into summer, it's really easy to just put a bunch of stuff on the grill and then you have a week's worth of protein, whether it's chicken or burgers or tofu. And it's done and it tastes delicious because it has a little bit of that charbroil from the grill. And then when it comes to grains, if you have something like an instant pot, that is going to decrease your prep time dramatically. But otherwise, you can just make the stuff on the stove. And don't be afraid to put stuff in the freezer if you're not sure you're going to get to it this week. Everything that you are prepping will probably freeze well. You can freeze your proteins, you can freeze your grains, you can freeze your chopped veggies. The other route you can take with your meal prep is to prep full recipes. So I also like to do the style of prep where I make a recipe and I make a double or a triple batch of that one recipe, and then I have leftovers to eat throughout the week. This doesn't work for every single household because you might have somebody that you live with who doesn't like to eat that style of leftovers. But you can also take the same idea and freeze your leftover meals so you have something to pull out of the freezer on a busy night. Which brings me to my second idea, which is to stock more freezer meals for yourself. So you can take that exact same idea that I just said, where you can batch cook a recipe and then put the leftovers in your freezer and pull them out on a busy night so that you can just thaw something, pop it in the oven, and you're ready to go. You can also just take any leftovers that you have on any random night of the week and put them in the freezer and take things out gradually or piece by piece when you just need a little addition to a meal to just really make something happen for the night. Now, if there's one thing across the board that is going to make weeknight meals easier, it's to have a plan. Just knowing what you're going to eat when you come home from work is a game changer because you are not wasting a bunch of mental energy trying to look through your cupboards and your refrigerator and figure out what you have. Decide if you need to go back to the grocery store to buy extra things. You have everything, you made a plan, you went to the grocery store and shopped for all of the ingredients you need for your recipes. And now all you need to do is make them. And the way to make that easy for you is to plan true 15-minute recipes. There are a lot of recipes out on the internet that claim to be quick or 30-minute or 15-minute, but just skimming through a recipe, you'll know if it's going to be an actual quick 15-minute recipe or not. And so if you're super short on time and you get exhausted by the day and coming home from work, you just cannot commit to an hour-long recipe, find some recipes on the internet that you know and that you know your family is going to like, and that actually will only take 15 minutes, and just plan a whole week of those recipes. It's going to save you so much mental effort and honestly so much time. Now, if you're looking for some recipe ideas for this, I recommend things like a quick stir fry, maybe pasta with a yummy sauce, or something simple like quesadillas and a salad. The truth is, you don't need to cook more in order to eat at home more. With a little bit of planning and some prep and maybe some freezer meals, you can definitely eat at home more and start saving more money on food. Now, if you need a tool to help you do this, to get organized with your recipes and your meal plans and your shopping list, that's where Plan to Eat comes in. It's what I use to keep my meal plan, recipes, and shopping list all in one place. It is super organized and really easy to use. I'm going to drop a link in the description of the video so you can go try it out yourself. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in another video.